Hey, thanks so much for checking out the Walk and Talk podcast. This podcast is distributed on anchor.fm, which is the easiest way to start a podcast. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and much more. Everything that you need to start a podcast all in one place. Go to anchor.fm to get started. What is up, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Walk and Talk podcast. It's your host, Mateo Elvira, here with...
Hey, Bruno Pozzo, baby.
Ciao.
Yeah,
Bruno always says ciao. I'm sure you guys have caught that by now. But what's up, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in. I can't believe we're already here at episode 7. Feels like yesterday I was born. Yesterday we just started episode 1. All jokes aside, today's episode is on the one and only Gary Vee.
The God.
Gary Vee has inspired both Bruno and I to create, be creative, continue to push, and just see the wonderful opportunity ahead of us. And just wanted to share a little bit of, the knowledge and guests and their knowledge that we've learned on his episode. I'll let Bruno kick us off here with a guest that he actually saw on Gary's content, which is the...
one of the gentlemen from the Impractical Jokers. I don't know his name because I don't really...
Joe, something...
I think it is Joe, yeah. I think it was the main guy.
Of Impractical Jokers. I'm sure you guys know that show, but Bruno, go ahead and give us some more context here.
So I was listening to Gary Vee's podcast, and this was probably like 3 episodes ago, but I guess he only posts like once a month because I think in the episode he said it's like August. And I was like, what the heck? I only went 3 episodes back, but whatever. And in any case, the episode starts, and Joe is talking to Gary Vee, telling him how he's an inspiration, how his daughter watches him now, and like he really believes everything he preaches, he really stands for. And I was like, oh, I didn't know like he was a Gary Vee fan. And then he started sharing his journey, and that's what his question kind of was revolving around, like what kept him persevering, and that's what Gary Vee was interested in too. So he's like, okay, because what I didn't know about the gentleman is that him and his friends that do the Impractical Jokers, all those high school friends, they apparently were doing like stand-up and trying to do sitcom, like whatever their sort of comedy was, for 16 years. Just nonstop. They would do stand-up gigs, they would do skits, they would post things, and apparently they would never get traction. They would post a lot of pilots and then no one would pick them up. And it took 16 years before they started Impractical Jokers. And I didn't know that.
So they had real jobs this whole time while they're trying to figure it out?
Yeah. So this was a side thing for them. This was like, they wanted that to be their main, apparently. He was saying like they really wanted to make it happen, but they still had to work their normal jobs. And so it was more like a weekend thing. And they would go to bars, do the sitcom.
So it was just what they did for fun, pretty much.
They wanted to make it a career, but they were like, okay, let's try it, because as you can kind of tell if you've ever watched the show, they are like kind of goofy guys. They like messing around. Like it's all jokes and gags with them. And that's cool, honestly. And I think a lot of people vibe with that because that's what's so funny about them. They're just silly gentlemen, like honestly. And a little bit of dad humor, I bet, in there too. Like all of them, they seem like dads to me. But it was just so inspirational, that story, man. Like honestly, like I just was really impressed by Joe. And Gary, honestly, one of the gods. As I say all the time, he really inspired me. Mateo really showed me him. I saw a few of his things prior, but I never like got into his stuff because Graham would talk about him, for example. And I just never really checked him out. But literally, once you started showing me videos, I got hooked, man. I'm telling you, I've been speed running his podcast, and I'm only on episode 3 within and I'm learning so much. I think the reason we started this podcast, the reason we started our Instagrams and our professional careers in social media and content creation is probably because of Gary Vee. Like I was kind of doing it previously, but I was, still kind of awkward about it and shit. But now I feel so much better now knowing what Gary Vee has taught me and like what he preaches about just making stuff, being yourself, don't being afraid, not even ignoring the haters. I love how he deals with haters. Are you familiar with his thing?
Positivity? He kills them with kindness.
Yeah, kills them with kindness for sure, bro.
Or he just I think he says like if someone tears you down, like they're in a bad place, and you should feel you should feel empathy towards them.
Yes, and dude, yes, exactly. That's exactly what he says, and I'm glad you said it like that because that's honestly what it is. Like if you really treat the world with love and empathy, you realize that there's a lot of people suffering, man, and I'm very grateful that I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't have a negative mindset. I don't talk down to myself. I don't talk down to other people. And like, it's very hard to faze me. But I know that there's a lot of suffering in the world, and that's why people post, nasty comments. It's sad.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned from Gary Vee, I'm big into business, Bruno knows, but his philosophy is like, he sees people fail because they just sell. People think it's so hard to be, I guess, fake in this online environment. Like, it's super obvious that people who genuinely just want to help and add value and that actually care, and other people that are just doing something in hopes of getting something.
Yeah, I know. Malicious, or like, two-handed, or whatever you want to call it. Like, yeah, definitely inauthenticity shines online. I don't know what it is. It's very easy to pick up. You're absolutely right about that. It's so strange.
And I see this in the B2B sales world because companies, their strategy of getting customers is, we're going to freaking cold call them, and we're going to annoy them, and we're going to push them to take a meeting, and we just have to do this at a volume game because that's how sales works. And I'm thinking, like, doesn't work like that. Like, your customers determine if they want to take a look at your product. Your customers determine whether you have a good product. It does not work. I wish I could just cold call 100 people tomorrow and 90 people say yes, and 50 people buy. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, and I think people haven't realized that, like, what Gary Vee's onto with this idea of, like, branding and content and giving with no hopes of getting anything in return, and using that as a strategy to build trust. If you're not if a company is not leveraging this as a business strategy,
they're losing out.
We may be in the 1980s. I mean,
they're dinosaurs, literally. Yeah, I feel that. Like, I've said that in the last episode, the dinosaur analogy, but it's true. Like, when you're that stubborn enough, where you're not adapting to the times and realizing that, like you said, I think that's what Gary Vee talks about, leveraging, like, providing value, and allowing the money and the trust and the brand and the following to follow. Exactly. It's so true. Like, when you start thinking consumer first, customer first, client first, whatever first, you will win. Don't worry about anything. Just worry about bringing as much value as you possibly can. And that's what we try to do in these podcasts. And that's why I love Gary Vee. Like, I think that was the switch I needed in my head to finally make this jump that I'm doing with you, Mateo. Like, honestly, I'm very happy and very optimistic about the future. Like, we're going to have a really good decade. And starting with this stuff, man, like, this is just one of many projects I'm going to be doing. Don't worry, you guys. You're going to see a lot of me in the future. And I hope to hear things from you guys because, at the end of the day, like I said, it's about the consumer. It's not about me. It's about the clients. Like, I just want to be helpful. I want to provide value to people. And I hope you guys check out Gary fucking Vee. I shouldn't be cursing so much. I've been cursing a lot these last 2 episodes, but he
deserves that one because he's the GOAT.
Yeah, Gary Vee, straight GOAT, bro.
Now I wanted to throw an idea at you, right? Because you talked about how the Impractical Jokers guys were pushing or doing their thing for 11 years. 16 years until they finally landed a show, which, mind you, think of how much money they're making now in terms of, like, perpetuity, like their reruns show. Like, they're making money off of their reruns.
YouTube clips. They could probably post shit on TikTok if they wanted to. I know, like, they tried to do that stuff on Quibi, like a lot of shows, like Reno 911, like old shows, I should say. Like, they could have even done that if they wanted to, quote unquote. Like, think about it. Like, repurposing content on all these platforms is such a simple way to give people something to, like, small to chew on and still give them a laugh, because that's what they're all about.
Now, everyone listening, take a step back here. Mm-hmm. Now, imagine if year 2, they went, you know what? I'm not seeing any traction in this. I'm not getting the following I deserve. I'm going to quit and I'm just going to do a job for the rest of my... Imagine if that happened, but they carved it out of reality.
Yes, they carved it out of reality and they persevered. And that's the whole thing, man. Like, don't worry about the money. Like, they're privileged enough where they had a job that, they could sustain themselves. So there's definitely base level income that does matter. So you can't just run off to LA, no money, no friends, no connections, and then just do like filming or whatever you want to do, music, whatever.
Takes time.
It does take a little time. So definitely you need to have some base security of income. But at the end of the day, that's about persevering. Like the one who actually can provide value, do their thing, and doesn't give up, that's the ones who win. And that's why we hear these legendary stories. And that's, oh man, like you said, it could have ended year 2, year 5, year 11.
They could have
so
just
many
gave
years.
up. They could have just stopped and did it and said, hey, a job is more stable.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that. No, and think of how many people that are great, but like they don't see what they want to see in like a year, and then they stop. And we know that there's people out there that, so it's almost like you have an advantage, or anyone out there has an advantage just by doing.
Absolutely.
Maybe not just by like doing the best, but like just by doing, you're already giving yourself an advantage, right? Because there are people who are stuck in their heads that won't do it for whatever reason. And so by you just doing it and learning.
It's that Shia LaBeouf meme. Just do it, man. Nike said it a long time ago. Just do it, right? Just got to do it. There's no other way to live life, honestly. Got to take that initiative. That's why I love Gary Vee. It's a very entrepreneurial mindset. I can tell he's just a capitalist entrepreneur god, but I love that. That's me too. Graham's like that too. All these people are like that. I guess it's a very American thing too, I suppose. But you know, at the end of the day,
get after it. Huh?
Yeah, just go for it. If you have something you want and you know you want it, you can do it. Like, trust yourself. You have the capabilities. Like, of course, everyone's plan might be different and their abilities might be different. But if you're the one that cares, you can make it happen. You know, whatever it is, man.
Huge fan of the show Shark Tank. I think. I mean, this is going to sound cheesy and corny, right? But like what America does best is private industry and entrepreneurship. Whether you're a lawyer and want to open your own practice, whether you're a big fan of dogs and you want to create the ultimate dog chew toy. It's like that's what America enables you to do. Whatever you love to do, you're a subject matter expert because you personally love that.
Mm-hmm. And
you're going to find every bit of information that you can about that field because you love it. And if you could find or create value in that space, America enables you and almost incentivizes you.
It does incentivize
to go
us.
after it.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. Nothing more could be said, I think, on that. That's just beautiful. It's honestly, I guess I'm getting randomly kind of corny and patriotic, and I never really consider myself like hardcore patriotic American, but I do feel very blessed that I live in this country, man. Like, I do have a lot of opportunities afforded to me. Luckily, I'm not oppressed in any way. I'm not dealing with any problems like that. Income-wise, I'm surviving. I'm good with my mom and my family. So, you know, I'm definitely blessed. So that's why I'm trying to take advantage of the status I have and do the best I can. Like, at the end of the day, I want to help people. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm all about. I'm slurring because I'm so excited. I just want to help you guys.
100%. Yeah, it's incredible to see the opportunity that we have here. And obviously, America has a lot of things to work on as a country.
Yeah,
but
we're not perfect, bro. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, we are far from perfect. But hey, I think if there's anything that we can learn from these times right now is things are changing.
Absolutely.
And you know, let's say you're unemployed out there and, you know, unfortunately you got let go or you've just been having challenges finding a job. I would challenge anyone out there, if you're not working for whatever reason, it is literally the perfect time for you to just either start creating content, or just learning what about yourself you want to like explore more.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that sentiment.
And now's like the best time because literally nothing's going to be going on for a little while.
Yeah, a lot of things are on pause. No, like even surprisingly, schools are still trying to push through. I feel terrible for students right now, whether you're younger or in higher education. But definitely this time where economy is slowing down, you don't have a job, find out what you like. See if you can monetize it somehow. And you'd be surprised. If you listen to Gary Vee, man, like you can literally make money about anything you like. So we talked about this on a previous episode, I think, about chasing your passions and making it a career. It's so true. Just definitely go for it, man. Like, I definitely highly recommend taking the time to learn as much subjects about yourself, about the world and trying things. At the end of the day, you don't know if you like something until you try it. So if you think you like something, give it a shot for a little while. And if you don't, try something else. No harm, no foul.
I think there's a really good quote. It's inaction is worse than failure.
Absolutely. That's a good quote.
And so I would challenge anyone out there. I feel like everyone's an artist deep down, and just embrace yourself and just create. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you found it helpful. Please DM us, message us, email us, whatever it is. We'd love to hear from you. What do you want to do in terms of entrepreneurship? What are you trying to tackle right now? What are your passions? Let us know. Bruno, any closing thoughts here?
Man, you do such a good job closing every time. Like, I always feel like I'm going to add something, and I barely have anything to add. But I'll just say, definitely hit us up, man. We appreciate you guys if you're listening, honestly. It means the world to us. And, like, honestly, even if it's 2 people, I'm happy. You're the best 2 people I've ever met.
Thank you, 2 people, for listening. Now you know who you are.
Yeah, there
you know who you are.
Don't worry, I got you, babe. I get the DMs from a few people. Don't worry, I know.
Well, thank you so much. Hope everyone has a great holiday season. We'll be back next week, so don't you miss it. And again, if there's anything you can take away from any of our episodes here, is to create. I hope you are going to start brainstorming and using that creative side of your mind. So thanks so much. We'll catch y'all in the next one.
Ciao.